Hello and welcome to Amalie Arena. Usually a bit more livelier when we're approaching a game, but of course the Tampa Bay Lightning are on the road in Raleigh as they take on the Carolina Hurricanes in Game 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs at 7:30. We're about 45 minutes away as we have some fans starting to trickle in to Amalie Arena. Carter, if you could take a gander at some of the people who are trickling in here. They'll eventually get in there, and we've had some pretty decent crowds inside this building as they've had the Jumbotron and the big screen inside, watching this team go to work on the road, something they've been very successful at under Jon Cooper. They have like a 31-14 record on the road with Jon Cooper at the helm ever since he's come to Tampa Bay. And this team looking to do something that's very important, and that is go up 2-0 in the series. Why is that important besides the obvious? Well, Tampa is 7-0 when leading a series 2-0. So if they're able to complete this thing, that means they should be able, historically speaking, to win the entire series from the Hurricanes. Of course, it never hurts to bring a team back to Tampa Bay inside this building and have games 3 and 4 with your own fate on the line to sweep them and finish the thing outright. We already know that Tampa has taken home ice from Carolina right now. They've done their job. They have won one game. Of course, Barclay Goodrow, kind of the big name coming out of Game 1 with 2-1 win as his goal was a deciding factor. A really weak goal. I mean, even head coach Rob Brindamore mentioned it for the Hurricanes, saying, look, Ned, he knows it was a weak goal, but he also made a lot of saves that kept him in the game. So it's one of those things where you take the good and the bad and you put it all together and you figure out, look, Vasi was probably just the standout figure in that contest. And before we get to Vasi, I do want to mention that Jon Cooper spoke with the media about 20 to 25 minutes ago, and he told us that Erik Cernak, who got injured in Game 1, left early in the second period and did not return. He is active tonight, so you will see the same exact rotation that you saw entering Game 1. The only difference is David Savard is out again for Game 2, but Jon Cooper did mention how Savard will most likely play in this series, or he expects him to play in this series, and as early as Game 3 we should see him. So there's a strong possibility that they'll be at full strength once again as we enter Game 3. Savard has been nursing this injury for a little bit, and he's progressing, but just something they have to take care of. But okay, let's get to Andrei Vasilevskiy, because he has been the big story, not only in Game 1, but also if we go back to Game 6 against the Florida Panthers. Vasilevskiy, 66 saves on 66 shot attempts in his last 2 games. Just fantastic effort. Today, the Vezina Trophy finalists were named. Obviously, Andrei Vasilevskiy is one of those people. So, we do think that Vasi is going to win that award. It's going to be his second in 3 years if he can get it done. He would actually be just the 7th player in the last 30 years to win it multiple times. I mean, we're talking about Marty Brodeur, Dominic Hasek, Tim Thomas. Bobrovsky was actually the last one to do it multiple times, just to name a few. Patrick Waugh, of course, on that list as well. And again, we're expecting him to continually heat up, and that's really been the deciding factor in these last couple of games, because if we look back to what this team has been doing, especially on power plays, I mean, something that Jon Cooper has hammered home with this team is like, guys, please stop committing these penalties. It's really putting us in some bad situations. Even last game against the Carolina Hurricanes, the team had to kill off 5 penalties. They were able to kill off 4 of them as the Hurricanes were able to get one of those to trickle in. And then also the Tampa Bay Lightning, who thrive on special teams units, who thrive on that power play. They got 3 opportunities, they scored 1. So they continually they're continually succeeding on those power play opportunities. They're not always going to hit at a 50% clip, which is something they kind of did against the Panthers. But if they can get 1 of 3, 33%, 40% in that range, there's no way that any team is going to beat them in the playoffs. Also, the tenor of this series is way different than what we saw in that Florida Panthers series. Jon Cooper saying it earlier today and earlier yesterday that, look, that showdown in Florida, there was a lot of hype to it, let's be honest. It was a Florida series. People were jacked up. The Panthers are always in our division. We see them all the time. And I know that the Hurricanes, we played them 8 times this year, but it doesn't always happen. They're not really a divisional opponent. For 1 year they are, but not normally. So there's just not that fire around this game like there was the Florida Panthers series. That's why you saw the fights. That's why you saw all the goals. They know each other like the back of their hands. And even though the Bolts and the Hurricanes know each other very well from playing each other so often in this this really weird NHL season, nonetheless, there aren't the personal feuds. Now, as the playoffs trickle on, we might have some of that. We might see more of the chippiness. I mean, the Hurricanes were the most penalized team in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So that's something to keep an eye on. But as far as what we're expecting when we watch these games and just the intensity and just the fire from the players, this is way more, pack up your lunchbox and go to work sort of deal, because we're showing up, we're trying to win a game. We're not here for all the nonsense, which is some of the stuff that we saw from the Panthers series. I mentioned the penalty killing units, something to watch out for. Always at the top of your 3 keys, the penalty kill for the Hurricanes, one of the best in the NHL. That's what they have to continually do to the Lightning. If they can prevent the Lightning from scoring on the power play, that's how Carolina is going to win games. We mentioned Barclay Goodrow. Sometimes in the media, we like to drum up angles, and sometimes they're forced, and other times not so much. Barclay Goodrow, because he returned, and he had such a good return in that Game 6 against the Panthers, us in the media were asking a lot of questions about Goodrow. We wanted to know what it was about him, because when he's on the ice, good things always happen. And that's exactly what happened in Game 1. And Goodrow himself told us, look, I wasn't even trying to score there. I was just trying to put it on net, try to get a rebound for one of my teammates. But as we all know, watching hockey, if you put the puck on the net, good things are going to happen. And it's so funny. I'm going to have Carter, because I'm not going to lie, a little thirsty, need a breather. Carter's going to take a little glance here around Amalie Arena as we're seeing some more fans trickle up towards the front of the steps here. And very rarely do we see Thunder Alley so quiet. Of course, road games, usually so typical, but because of what this organization is trying to do and trying to drum up the excitement, because we lost all that time during the pandemic, it's just so nice that we get to involve the fans. Capacity increasing to 13,500 inside Amalie Arena once games 3 and 4 come back to our city. Out there in Carolina and Raleigh, it is quite the environment. 16,000. I know if you're watching that thing on TV, you're in awe. It's crazy where we are right now in this world, that we're starting to reintegrate ourselves around each other, starting to get that fire back in these games, and it's great to see. As long as we follow the health and safety protocols that the CDC manages, and as long as we're doing what we're supposed to do, these are the rewards that we get for following those directions. It's also a wonderful thing to do. If you can't come to the games at Amalie Arena, especially the playoff games, look, I know they're a lot of money, and sometimes it's just better to hang out with a cold one in front of the couch and kick your feet up and watch the game. But if you want to be inside Amalie Arena, be inside that environment and pay a tiny fee to do it, these road games are the ways to do it, and you cannot get a better screen than the one you'll see inside the building right in front of us. Again, 7:30 puck drop inside this building, inside the PNC Arena. When we come back for Game 3, 8 o'clock puck drop, that will be on Thursday. And then, of course, play on Saturday for Game 4. 2 days off. On Tuesday, we'll play Game 5 in Raleigh if needed. If needed for Game 6, it'll be the following Thursday. If needed, Game 7 will be in Raleigh the following Saturday. So, again, loop back around one more time. I'm going to go on to the Facebook Live. If you have any questions, please send them our way. I'd love to answer them. Again, Eric Chernak is playing today. David Savard is not. David Savard should be back relatively soon. Just going on to the website here where we got this going on. Let's go in. And let's see. All right, for some reason, It's not loaded. Okay, well, what are you going to do? All right, well, don't worry about that. Some other quick hitters. As I mentioned, and I'll go right through it again, the Lightning going up 2-0 in this series. There we go. There we go. I love to hear that. All of a sudden, we turn back around, there's like a lot more Bolts fans. I swear, when we showed you behind me like 1 minute ago, there were not this many people. But that's the excitement we want. A 2-0 series lead usually means a victory for Tampa Bay, as they are 7-0 all time when leading a series 2-0. They have never lost a series when leading 2-0, and they have never lost a series when leading 3-1. So those are the things we're going to keep in mind. I fully expect Carolina to come out swinging. Okay, oh, there we go. So we're not on Facebook Live, we're on YouTube. Thank you, David. David doing hard work behind, hitting me up when he saw me struggling. But yeah, so I fully expect Carolina to come out swinging today. Metaphorically speaking, of course. They are an amazing team. That game one could have went any which way. Again, Vasi, 66 saves in 66 shots last 2 games. He has been the X factor. And while so many teams in the NHL just flip-flop between goalies and never really have a true feel, we saw the Panthers struggle with that in their first series. It's so nice to have a guy like Vasi, or for Boston, Tuukka Rask, who can just go between the pipes and say, hey, I got this covered the entirety of the playoffs. We good. Speaking of the Bruins and Tuukka Rask, we learned because the Maple Leafs, for lack of a better word, coughed up their 3-1 lead against the Montreal Canadiens. Because of that, and the Canadiens moving on to play the Winnipeg Jets, we now know that the winner of the Golden Knights Avalanche series and the winner of the Jets Canadian series will play each other. So that means the winner of the Lightning Hurricanes series will play the winner of the Bruins Islanders series. So if you want to watch another series in hockey right now, keep an eye on the Bruins and Islanders. Those are the teams who will come to Amalie Arena if the Lightning, of course, can make it out of this series. I'm not trying to mush them, but you know, the Lightning are 6-1 in the second round of the NHL playoffs. The Hurricanes are 4-1 all time. So both of these teams have been there before. They've done that. Of course, the Lightning have a little bit more experience. You know, the Hurricanes went 9 years without making the playoffs, and now this is their 3rd straight year of making it back to the playoffs. Rob Brindamore doing a wonderful job, just a tremendous hockey mind. John Cooper speaking very highly of him earlier in the week, just about how much he's done for that organization and how well they've progressed over these past few years, and they're a real title contender. I mean, the Hurricanes, maybe in any other year, this is a series that, you know, the two teams are fighting to make it to the Stanley Cup, not just the second round, but, you know, it is what it is. With almost everybody returning for this Tampa Bay Lightning team, you hear the word experience. John Cooper talked about it after Game 1, because the team's 31-1 when leading after the second period. And he says, that doesn't just happen. That doesn't just magically happen. You have to earn that experience. And that means even talking about that Columbus Blue Jackets series where they got swept after one of the best regular seasons ever in NHL history. You know, those series and those experiences stack on top of one each other, especially when you consider so many of these star players in this unit have stayed together for such a long period of time, finally breaking through last year and understanding what it takes to get the job done. Again, we wrap up things here from outside Amalie Arena. People trickling inside the building. We are 30 minutes away from the puck dropping on Game 2. The Lightning winning Game 1 2-1. Let's see what happens tonight. We will have your full coverage on 10 Tampa Bay, 11 o'clock. We'll be jumping right out. Hopefully it doesn't go into overtime, just saying. Makes our lives easier on the TV end. But if it does, we will still have you covered. We'll have immediate reaction from the team, immediate reaction of highlights, and so much more, as the Bucks also had OTAs today. And Tom Brady tweeting out his own little workout. So we're having fun here in Tampa Bay. Bolts, Buccaneers, Rays, Rowdies, USF baseball, you name it, we got a championship linked to it. I hope everyone has a wonderful night. Get your popcorn ready, get your snacks, get your dinner, because in 30 minutes we got a hockey game to watch.